Your wife has been unfaithful. Andrew received the message as he was saying goodbye to a colleague in the parking lot outside the office. The number was unfamiliar, and Andrew thought it was something silly, but when he opened the messenger, he found himself removing his tie and undoing the top button of his shirt when he saw the racy photos of his wife and a young man. Andrew counted to 10. Then he looked more closely at the photos and realized it wasn't a montage. He and Ada had been married for 20 years. They had endured much together. Andrew still loved his wife, and that thought never allowed him to cheat on her. Even when they had a serious fight, he knew it was temporary and the marriage had to be saved. Only now, Andrew could no longer think that way. He told Ada that he could forgive anything, any whim, except cheating. She swore that she would be faithful, that she herself was afraid that he would cheat on her. And she never gave her husband a reason to be jealous. True, lately she had become too thoughtful. Andrew did not pay attention, thought because of their daughter is worried. She went to study in another city, were now all alone. Andrew understood perfectly well that to live and continue after this, he will not be able to live with her. Of course, unloving will not come out overnight, but he is strong, will be able to cope. Maybe he will even forgive her, but he will not be able to live with her. He will always imagine her in the arms of another. No, it's hard to get over, even if you don't try. Now only divorce. How painful this realization stabbed me in the gut. 20 years of a happy marriage so stupidly cut short. Why did she do that? Was there something he hadn't given her? But he lived for her and their daughter. He built a business to make them well off. He refused nothing. He rushed home after work, spent all his weekends with his family. His wife did not neglect attention and affection. What was missing? Andrew honestly did not understand. Probably too much to do if she was able to betray so easily. Andrew imagined now telling his wife everything he knows, telling her about the divorce. How will she react? Will she start to apologize, convince her that everything is wrong, that there was a mistake? Will she rejoice? Will she demand to divide the property? But not for this. Andrew work, sometimes did not sleep well for months. He was trying for the family, not for some Alfonso, on which his wife traded his wife. Otherwise he could not say about this creature young puny. What more does he need from a mature woman? Recently Andrew gave her a car. How happy she was. And now she's driving that jerk. No, Andrew did not want this, and will not allow it. Andrew has decided to keep quiet and pretend that nothing has changed. Watch Ada and then decide how best to act. Ada was in a good mood when he got home. After accepting the flowers, she reached out to kiss her husband, but Andrew recoiled from her unexpectedly. He was like a heat wave, with photos of betrayal appearing before his eyes. He gave the appearance of a smile. "I'm sorry. I'm in trouble at work. I'm going to move into the living room for now, otherwise I won't be able to sleep properly and I'll disturb you. I hope you understand?" he asked, as if with regret. "Sure, honey," the woman nodded. Apparently nothing had changed in her. She behaved as before, and Andrew calmed down a little. Suddenly he was wrong, and the photo was still a montage. But a few days later, Ada came home again, later than usual, and again the same thoughtfulness. And a couple of hours later, He had a video of her meeting with this guy. "I can't leave my husband," she whispered languidly, dissolving into his hot embrace. "He loves me, and I've been used to him for a long time." "Then why did you agree to see me?" he asked. "I was bored," Ada laughed. "I wanted new emotions. But I can hardly live without you anymore, so you'll have to make a choice. I'll have you bathed in champagne. You won't have to work. I'll give you the whole world. I'll carry you in my arms," the lover promised. "Don't rush it," Ada jokingly pushed him away, and then Andrew couldn't see what happened next. "Darling, are you all right?" Andrew hugged his wife from behind, and she involuntarily shivered. "Yes, why?" Ada said with a hysterical tone in her voice. "Well then, I'd like to talk to you." Andrew continued to put his plan into action. "About what?" Ada asked worriedly, and Andrew realized that this was his chance. As long as his wife felt guilty, she would do whatever he asked. "I think it's time for our daughter to buy an apartment," Andrew said. "Why so urgent?" his wife asked, relieved. "I've just found the perfect opportunity in a wonderful location." Well, let's buy," Ada replied indifferently. "The option is indeed excellent. We must not miss it. But only our old apartment will have to be sold. And your car too. We'll buy you a cheaper one. Come on, tomorrow you'll sign the deed of sale, and I'll do everything myself." Ada just nodded silently, lost in her own thoughts. After receiving all the necessary documents, Andrew immediately began to carry out his plans. The first thing he did was to set up a new company, register it with his mother, transfer all the assets of his company to it, leaving only the debts, and file for bankruptcy. He sold the apartment that he had bought with his own money, but already during the marriage, as well as Ada's car, and invested in a new apartment that he talked about and registered to his daughter. He bought an old car for Ada. She tried to object. He could have sold his car. Why should she drive the old one? But Andrew reminded her that his car had been bought on credit. There was no way to sell it. Now that everything was done, and Andrew was calm that his wife would get what she deserved, the doubts began to torment again. Ada was the same all the time, caring for her husband, wondering when he would return to the bedroom if everything was all right now, and he no longer knew what reasons to find for refusing. She seemed so sincere, and again he thought someone was joking. Then Andrew decided to talk to his wife. "Ada, let's get a divorce," he asked, adding for some reason, "I've fallen in love with another woman." "What?" His wife jumped up from the chair where she had been sitting comfortably with the phone and smiled at something a few minutes ago. "So you betrayed me? And I trusted you. How could you? Are you being honest with me?" asked Andrew, looking intently into her eyes. "Am I? What do you mean? By the way, I have given you no reason to think otherwise. You're the only one I have. So many years living with you, believing in you, and you," cried Ada. "Don't run away from the answer. Say it straight, yes or no," Andrew insisted. "Yes," Ada raised her head proudly. "Yes, I'm decent, unlike you, my dear. And that's what this is, a divorce, so divorce. You'll give me everything you've gained in marriage, because it was you who cheated on me, not I on you." And immediately turned pale when Andrew handed her his phone with that very video. Ada began to stammer, her face turning pale, trying to justify herself as if someone had set her up. "You don't have to make up anything, Ada. It's all obvious." "Pack your stuff," Andrew said wearily. "Fine." Ada lifted her chin again proudly. "I'll go. Because I have places to go, but I won't let you bring anyone here. I will sue you for half of everything you have in this marriage." Only in court did Ada learn that she was only owed half of the debt, and that she still had the old car and part of the apartment where she and her husband lived. "How could you deceive me like that?" she cried in the courtroom. "But now you have so much more. The love of your life, buckets of champagne, the whole world at your feet. Aren't you glad?" said Andrew snidely. Ada had to give up her share of the apartment to avoid paying half of the debt. She jumped out of the courtroom as if scalded, and her lover was waiting for her at the door. Andrew hurried to leave. His new company was doing well, and he wanted to pay off all his debts as soon as possible. "I wanted to start life with a clean slate." He decided to sell the apartment. There were too many memories associated with it, and he wanted to forget the past. That same evening, there was a knock at the door of Ada's apartment. She came in and fell on her knees before her husband. "Forgive me, my darling. Forgive me." She swore that she would never do that again, that she herself did not understand how everything happened, that for the sake of the past he had to understand everything. Let's start all over again. "That bastard left me as soon as he found out that I got nothing after the divorce. He lied to me. Imagine that, lied." She sobbed, and he felt resentment for this woman he had once loved to the point of madness. "Get up now," Andrew said calmly. "I warned you I couldn't forgive betrayal, but you made your choice." "I have nowhere to go." She broke into a scream. "You have taken everything from me. I have no place to live. For starters, you robbed yourself." Andrew was a bit silent. "But I have decided to sell this apartment, and of course I will not leave you on the street. I will buy you another one, but a smaller one, as you understand. I've earned everything we had, so don't expect anything more. I know you have a secret deposit. I've never restricted you financially. You have nothing to resent, nor can you hope for a family reunion. You can stay here for now." Andrew left, taking the necessary items with him, and Ada continued to beg him not to leave her. When the apartment was sold, Andrew bought a place for his ex-spouse, as promised. "Why don't you stay with me?" Ada looked at her ex-husband with a pleading look in her eyes as he helped her move. "No," Andrew smiled, closing the door to the past forever.